Suicide Prevention in the Adolescent Population by BYU Idaho RN-BSN students Gloria Brown, Keziah Chang, Alicia Goff, and Chinky Sanchez. Our target audience for this presentation includes parents, teachers, family members, and friends of anyone who is of age 10 to 24. Our objectives for the viewer are identify signs of suicidal behavior among adolescents, know some of the risk factors associated with suicide, identify at least 2 resources that can be utilized for someone with suicidal thoughts or behaviors, describe how to start the conversation with an adolescent with suicidal thoughts or behavior. Suicidal behavior is defined as an act or focused thought or purposefully causing one's death. Suicide attempt is the second leading cause of death in ages 15 to 24. Females are more likely to attempt suicide. However, males are 4 times more likely to die from suicide than females. Firearms are used in over half of youth suicides. Factors associated with suicide include substance abuse, mental health issues, aggressive behavior, impulsive behaviors, stressful life events such as death or divorce in the family, family history of suicide, family history of violence or incarceration. At-risk groups include LGBT groups, American Indian, Alaskan Native, military under 25, children in the child welfare system, youth in the juvenile justice system.
Some myths that are associated with suicide are 1. Suicide only affects people with mental health problems. Fact, not all people who attempt or die by suicide have a mental health illness. 2. Once someone is suicidal, they are always suicidal. Not true. Suicide thoughts are often short-term and specific to a painful situation. 3. Most suicides happen without warning. Fact, warning signs precede most suicides. 4. People who die by suicide are selfish and take the easy way out. Not true. People who die by suicide want to end their suffering. They feel hopeless and helpless. Number 5. Talking about suicide will encourage suicide. Again, not true. Talking about suicide reduces the stigma and allows people to seek help. Now let's learn about how to start a conversation about suicide. In the following video, teens describe common signs that a teen is considering suicide. It provides encouragement for communicating directly and immediately for support and safety. It also includes suggestions for what to say to a teen who may be at risk for suicide and ways to keep them safe. It is important to know that no evidence suggests that appropriately asking about suicidal thoughts will increase the risk of developing suicidal thoughts. Remember, it's a myth. Instead, remember, it doesn't hurt to ask. Please see the link to this video in the description summary below. It is important to know some of the risk factors to help identify those who may be at risk for contemplating suicide. These are mental health disorders, alcohol and other substance use disorders, hopelessness, impulsive and or aggressive tendencies, history of trauma or abuse, major physical illnesses, previous suicide attempts, family history of suicide, job or financial loss, loss of relationship, easy access to lethal means, local clusters of suicide, lack of social support and sense of isolation, stigma associated with asking for help, lack of health care, especially mental health and substance abuse treatment, cultural and religious beliefs such as the belief that suicide is a noble resolution of a personal dilemma, and exposure to others who have died by suicide in real life or via the media and internet.
There are warning signs associated with adolescents who are considering suicide. Never ignore a cry for help. Some of these warning signs include talking about wanting to die or to kill themselves, if they're actively making a suicide plan or trying to act on that plan that they have made already. Someone who's talking about feeling hopelessness or having no reason to live. being a burden to others, if they've increased the use of alcohol or drugs in their lives, their sleep patterns change, or sleeping not enough or too much, sleeping all of the time, are also warning signs. Withdrawing or isolation from others, and extreme mood swings. If you notice a friend or loved one is exhibiting these symptoms or has verbally stated that they want to kill themselves, do not ignore it. Seek professional help immediately and never leave them alone. Here are a couple legal aspects of suicide. Suicide in the state of ethical frameworks for thinking about suicide. Now, ethical frameworks are frameworks of thinking, how a person thinks about suicide that affects their behavior, or how they believe, their beliefs about suicide. So this could be pertinent to adults, parents, someone who has custody or influence over an adolescent, and the perspective of what type of framework is being influenced in their household that the teen or the adolescent may have absorbed or may have been influenced by. This is a quick overview of some of the frameworks that help to shape suicide ideology. First is theological. Theological is a view of suicide in that it is wrong because life is a gift from God, that it is not up to us to revoke or to take away. A libertarian approach or way of thinking about suicide is a permissible attitude, belief that it is our own bodies and that we are free to choose and do what we will with our own bodies. A consequentialist looks to the potential consequences of suicide to determine the action that they would take regarding suicide. And then finally, the Kantian framework is a non-consequential approach. It focuses on our duties towards others and ourselves and appeals to the concept of dignity. These are important considerations to help understand that people have different perspectives on suicide and that your own ideology may not match someone else's. Stop the stigma of suicide. The stigma related to suicide is a major barrier to adolescents seeking help for suicidal thoughts. When an adolescent reaches out to someone about their suicidal thoughts, and if they hear not to talk about it, or that they're crazy, or that they're taking the easy way out, or they're seeking attention, then it inhibits them from reaching out to seek for the help that they need. Talking about suicide is a major step towards preventing suicide.
This video is an inspiring testimonial of a man who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge in a suicide attempt and survived. He talks about how he realized later that life is the greatest gift that we have been given, and his journey towards recovery and healing. We recommend that you watch this video. It is only a few minutes long. This is another video where the people being interviewed here have all lost a loved one through suicide. They talk about the pain that they have experienced because of it. We know that people who take their own life are in pain, and they don't always think about the people in their lives who will miss them, but everyone has someone who cares about them, and every life matters and is important. So please watch this video. It is also only a few minutes. Recently, a law has been passed in California that requires schools, grades 7 through 12, to have a suicide prevention program taught in school. This became a law in 2016, and the hope is to help recognize at-risk individuals and to get them the services or treatments they might need. Here are two resources and their associated links: NAMI South Bay and Stars View Behavioral Health Group in Los Angeles. These organizations offer help to individuals and families related to mental health and crisis intervention.
Lastly is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, national crisis line that is routed to local Lifeline Network crisis centers, provides resources and support for individuals, groups, and professionals. Under professional help, implementing a no suicide contract can serve as a pre-conscious choice and a resource reminder that help is always available through hotline and family and friends. This can be done with careful monitoring. Thank you so much for watching our presentation. We hope that you have the tools necessary to start the conversation about suicide and take away the stigma associated with it. Brochures are available and may be printed if needed. Thank you for watching.